So I'm here with Meenu Kumar, the founder and CEO of Doodle Corp out of Gurgaon in Delhi area, India. And Meenu, what does Doodle Corp do?
We make videos that mean business. We tell the stories of businesses in a way that customers want to hear.
Is that primarily through animations?
So while we do all kinds of videos, our signature style is doodling, which really simply explains the story as you would in a boardroom on a whiteboard. So that's, they're organic, they're time-lapsed, they're shot by artists. But we do all kinds of videos, if you really ask me.
Meenu, we're talking a lot in these videos in these interviews about what I'm calling pivot power, how businesses are adapting either to keep their business going and thrive or to help their customers adapt. So how has your business been affected by the current situation and how have you adapted?
To tell you the truth, surprisingly, it's been thriving. Not something I had anticipated because a lot of videos that were coming at this time of the year for us were conference videos because, the year has just started, people are kicking off, and we were getting a lot of work based out of videos that need to be shown at conferences. And just around January, when people started rethinking their conferences and canceling their conferences, I got the wind of it that, now marketing is going to take a hit if, events won't be done and if people are going to be scared. I really thought that is what it's going to be. And I actually signed myself up on, other things that I could develop myself into. And then, these other businesses started coming up with the downturn of the economy and the well-being of people that are saving lives and that are trying to help people survive this crisis. And those are the kind of businesses that started mushrooming really in our portfolio at this time.
Okay. So some things went away, but you actually got more business.
Yes. And as you can see, what is happening now, we are talking on Zoom and so is the world. Video is really taking the front seat of things, something that has been anticipated for the last 10 years, but it was never fated to be this rampant as it is now. And even while you can't go out doing marketing in many other ways because you're still not selling, but to stay alive, people are hungry for content right now. Look at what is happening, the way we are voraciously absorbing content on COVID itself. There is data all around. People just want to see that. And that I think has led for some customers to believe that, this is the time to educate rightly. So I think a lot of video opportunities have come up out of this unfortunate incident that's hit the world, that staying connected while we have to be so disconnected and at 6 feet length from each other, video is really the only way now to talk to people. So I think some of my customers also have felt that. So one thing is video conferences, the other is the videos through which you can tell the kind of stories we tell for our customers. And the third is the training that you would have seen, everybody's trying to train themselves on something because we do have additional time. We have additional time out of not commuting anymore to work. And, those are frankly 2 hours that everybody can put into training. So I think that's the kind of opportunity that's coming up to our advantage as well.
Okay, so just the general hunger for content is one thing. Another is marketing budgets. They may be down, but some of that budget that was slated for conferences and other sales channels has to go somewhere. And then the demand for training, for educational videos also in place perhaps of in-person trainings that can't happen now. How are you helping your customers pivot in their business and their marketing? How are you helping them adapt and thrive right now?
So I think as businesses which need to first survive and then thrive, they are picking up the most critical pieces to really be communicated to, in one of the cases, to the investors and the management, and in another case it is the telecom industry where people have to make decisions to increase bandwidth for their customers. So these are critical to their businesses, and there's an opportunity that they need to say, but it has to be told very quickly because nobody has the time. So yes, that's where we already do that. We already do that kind of storytelling where you're going to tell your story in a 90-second capsule. So that's really how we're helping
So
customers.
there's just a lot more need for 90-second capsules now.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, are customers also kind of asking you to more strategically help them navigate the new landscape of marketing?
Yes, interestingly, marketing is getting a redesign, because you're not doing the kind of events you could do earlier. So, narrowing down to video is interesting for us because not many people have very mature video strategies because video is still a fairly new, I know even if it's a 10-year-old medium, it's still a fairly new medium. So to have your entire content strategy become video is something where people look at us for, strategy and consulting as well. So we
Okay.
help them. One way we're doing this for one of the companies is that, we're now doing only a video marketing strategy. So the company is doing no other video but marketing through video. So we're doing a 6-month calendar where what all kind of videos they can do in what all places. And that's how we're going forward for them.
So before they might have had a 6-month marketing calendar of which video was one small piece, and now it's pretty much a 6-month video content calendar.
Yeah, because traditional companies still bank a lot about the traditional, bank upon a lot on the traditional mediums of advertising, and video must be done, and they don't know how, so they don't want to put all their eggs in that basket. But since now that has become the way to do, some of them are smartening up to it, and I'm glad we're benefiting.
So fantastic. What do you think? There's another area that I've been talking to a lot of businesses about, and this is the idea that helping is the new selling. So there are certain businesses that can continue to sell what they sold and make the same revenue, but there are many businesses that can't right now. They can't deliver exactly the way they were delivering before, or the customers aren't there in the traditional markets. So when you think about this idea of helping is the new selling, either how you or your clients are kind of providing a service to earn brand equity and goodwill right now, what do you think about?
I would love to quote, the example of the automobile companies right now. And we all know that nobody is driving cars anymore. So thinking of buying a car is the last thing on anybody's mind right now for the next 6 months. And I had I saw a really good show reel of all automobile companies which have made videos to connect to their customers. And I think it's beautiful. Right now, they are not selling cars at all. They're just connecting with humanity the way it is. So, they've embraced majority of them have embraced the changing landscape, and they're connecting through that with their customers, just staying relevant. So I think, that's the classic thing that people who are not selling can do is connect to people the way things are rather than just sell.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though I think that's not really helping, but it is empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of um, relationships are based on empathy, and selling and buying is a relationship that's based on empathy. So right now, if you can't sell and you can just connect through empathy with what's going on in the world, I think the automobile industry has done it very well. Maybe it was a case of meeting up with the Joneses that all of them did it. Maybe Nissan started and then the others followed. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened came first. But I saw a show reel of all automobile companies who have done ads which are very humane in nature. In fact, the Post actually read the death of creativity on the side of advertising because all of them were based on empathy. But I
Mm-hmm.
would say like they are doing what they can do right now. They cannot sell, but they can connect. And I think that is my example on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you'd want to be the only company right now that wasn't empathetic. Uh,
Yes, yes.
so now there is, I've heard one person talk about concerns about what they call COVID carpet bagging, which was sort of the more superficial version of that. I saw a tweet where somebody said, I like how marketing has gone from buy a Toyota to these are uncertain times, buy a Toyota.
Yes.
So there's empathy and help, and there's the appearance of empathy and help.
Yes, I think, companies are very vulnerable at this downturn because, production is not happening, which means tons of money going down the drain. So I guess it's hard for them to stay with that smile on the face with empathy sometimes, and maybe they just get desperate and try to sell as well. But I don't
Yeah.
think that selling will work at all right now.
What do you think is like, what is one example for you of a recent client where you or they are doing something that you think is particularly interesting to pivot and adapt to this time?
One of the customers I'm working with, they're doing something really interesting. They're a traditional company which has been around for maybe 50 or 60 years. They're a big global company, and they've been doing supplements for people. Just because now the focus is going towards well-being, they're making a very interesting tie-up with a company which is known for well-being. So now they are changing their brand strategy for the next 10 years, which I think is really smart because so far they were banking on the medicinal side of wellness, and now they
Mm-hmm.
are joining hands with a holistic wellness company and
Mm-hmm.
kind of co-producing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I cannot quote the names because the
No.
mergers to happen, and we were involved in making the film, which is helping the investors take the call. But yeah, it's very interesting to see that merger happening because to change the persona of a 60-year-old company at such a time, I think it's a really bold move. Although of course it has short results, and that's why they're going in for it. At the same time, like taking a call for a brand at such a time is delicate as well.
Yeah,
So I think it's
yeah.
interesting.
And no matter how tough the economy gets, there will certainly be companies that come out of it better and stronger, as well as companies that don't make it through. There will be survivors and thrivers.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm seeing everywhere. That people are adapting to the changing scenario and seeing what they can do. Some are marketing, some are empathizing, some are selling, and some are coming up with new products and mergers, which will work in the new world because the new world is still not outlined for us on what it will be like. But there is, a hint of things, and as fast as you can catch the hint, the faster your business can transition.
Yeah, and disruption is something that, especially in tech, has had a certain meaning over the last X number of years. It's usually meant disrupting a particular industry, coming up with a distinctly better way that was going to kind of blow up the old way. We're in a situation now where kind of globally, it's like, at least for the moment, every old way is blown up. It's a global disruption.
Yeah, I mean, humanity's been taken down to the planet flu one whole century back. I think we like just where we were 100 years back in
Except
terms
for
of
the Zoom.
except yeah, we have more devices, but yeah, we're as vulnerable and unsure as we were 100 years back. But yes, we're connected.
Yeah, that's true. It's a different level of uncertainty, and things like this have been predicted for a very long time, but it was always something that could happen, might happen, statistically eventually would happen. It's very different to be confronted with the reality of something that feels like we're actually living in, like, at least for the moment, in a dystopian science fiction novel.
Yes, because I think humanity leads to believing it's invincible just because of the innovation and the speed of innovation we had. We thought, yeah, everything is under our control. I guess this is our wake up call.
Yeah, yeah. So, what advice would you have for businesses in this environment right now? You serve a rather wide range of different businesses, some small, some very large. I know you do things for, as well, for like the Gates Foundation and PwC. So from that perspective of somebody that serves a very wide range of businesses, what kind of advice would you have for them right now about how to operate and how to market?
I guess one has to, connection is the one thing humanity seeks right now. And marketing could be called connecting now. I think when we look at it like that and I mean, my business is to sell video, and I think that's what will work now. And that's my advice to businesses, that they don't have to shy away from marketing just because they cannot sell. I think marketing has to really be invested right now, because this is the time to freely create content, just focused, rather than be under the pressure of getting an ROI and sales. So I'd say, if they can, whatever way they can, they must connect with their customers, and change with the changing world as it's changing, and change their products and selling strategies accordingly.
So that's really interesting, because you're talking about investing in marketing at a time when for most businesses sales are going to be down. So the reflex is usually to cut marketing at such times. It sounds like you think that's a really bad impulse.
I would say so. I would say so, because for my own brand, I haven't had the time to do a lot of content, read a lot of content for Do Look Up. But now is the time that we can do the content, because we have a breather. Because there is more time now that we can focus on things that need to be focused on. And marketing is really the persona of the brand. Why should we neglect it at any time? The persona is going through such a tumultuous change right now. The disruption is affecting every person, every business. And at this time, how can we not stay branded? Because we are the face. A brand is the face that people are going to say, see, and marketing is the only way you can show it. So my advice is that whatever budgets you can, you have to invest in marketing right now, because this is the time that you can do it in complete honesty. And honest marketing is the best gift you can give to your customers, because they will listen to you, and they'll feel it from here, and that's what works. Because you can blow your horn and sell something that doesn't work, but right now nobody has the guts to not be honest.
So it sounds like marketing now is laying the groundwork for sales that may come in the future, that you have to really kind of come across and build the connections now with the people that we hope will be able to buy from you later.
Yes, because the cost of acquiring a new customer is way higher than keeping the old one. And if you stay connected with your customer and you retain your customer, whatever goods you have, people do business with people they know and like. And if you stay relevant in this time, they'll come to you. So I think keeping who you have already in your books is a great time right now, rather than going out and when you have the pressure of sales, you have to create new customers. Right now, maybe you don't create new customers, or maybe you do, but you can stand by your ideologies of your brand. You can stand by your values and just talk about it.
So it sounds like finding ways to be helpful to your customers right now, even if they're not buying as much from you, is
Absolutely.
really important.
Yeah, this is the time for thought leadership. This is the time for just talking to your customers like you understand them, in whatever ways your product serves them.
It's also an interesting idea of getting some stuff done right now. If you have the time, you have the time, and if you have the budget to do that. Like here in New York City, I'm at the epicenter. There's public works projects going on right now, road repairs and things that would take a lot longer to do normally. But though, for where it's safe for crews to be out, they can do this very fast right now because traffic is very light. So it's kind of like you're taking the enforced pause and using it to get some things done that you might not be able to get done otherwise.
Absolutely. I think it's, and for marketing, you need time for creation, you need time for writing, you need time for strategy. And this is the time. We have it.
Great. So I'm a messaging guy, so I've got to ask this, like, what do you think is the importance of sort of message clarity and simplicity in a crisis situation like this?
Oh, more than ever. I mean, you have to cut through the noise, because everybody's talking. Now that we have the platforms and the connection, everybody's talking. So, keeping it simple, keeping it short, I think that's what your messaging is all about. And that's what I've always tried to imbibe from you. It's just more critical than ever now, because not only do you have to send out content, you have to make a difference, you have to be heard, and you can't do it without being simple. And being simple is not easy. You know, cutting out the clutter and saying just the most important words, like in, a little going a little off road, like why I love you becomes the most difficult thing to say in a relationship which has to start, because it's the simplest thing, but it's straight from the heart and it's just cuts all the clutter. So I think, messaging has to be really thought of and really clear and simple. I do think you are the best person for that.
Well, gonna make me blush on that one, but I appreciate it. And one of the things I have seen is that some companies that wouldn't have been able to take the time to do messaging work before are able to take the time now. It's again like an infrastructure project. Of course, some companies are worried about survival and they just don't feel like they can think about that at all. But companies that were thinking, we really should get our brand or our message clear, but there was always something else to do, are kind of coming to me now saying, well, we've got the time, let's get it done.
Yeah, and I think it's also a question of, how we're going through this crisis. If we are overwhelmed, it's not going to help. So, if we stay calm, we can do whatever needs to be done. And I think, people who are taking the call to do the messaging workshops with you are the people who are trying to stay calm and composed rather than getting overwhelmed. And so are the people who are creating the time, to do the marketing they need to do. Because we cannot, just be freewheeled into this situation. We have to do what you have to do, and let the rest take its course.
Now, as a business leader, but also a mom with a family and children home from school or college right now because they're all closed, you've had to balance quite a lot. What's helped you be able to do that?
So what's helped me is to have a lot of time to compose myself before I put myself out there with my customers or my family. And I do a bit of, physical exercise. So I do sun salutations. I do 50 sun salutations every morning at sunrise and then some at evening at the sunset. So that, my body is balanced, my mind is balanced. So that's, the number one thing I give credit to is the physical thing I do. And the rest, slowing down really has been, there hasn't been a choice to not slow down now. So that has helped me, and and I just timetable myself into all the activities I have to do. And I think it's great actually having that many activities actually keeps you in the present moment. That's what all the meditations of the world teach you: stay in the present moment. But this staying in the present moment keeps you, in fact, completely involved in every activity you have to do. So I guess that's been a good thing for me.
Yeah, when we were a little earlier in the crisis curve, I noticed that it was pretty hard to tell one day from another. It was sort of one gray horizon, weekend or week, wasn't really clear. It was hard to be really on or really off. And so gradually, as I adapted, it became more, reaching out to people, giving myself connection, giving myself reasons to have things scheduled. And, now I know that it's, that it's Monday.
Yeah. No, I mean, two things I say. One, it's really important to keep a routine right now. The fixed bedtime, fixed morning time. It was easy to slide into no time because you could Netflix binge all night and then just slide into a 3 o'clock wondering how to wake up the next morning. And then you have no reason to wake up because if you're late already, then you're like, okay, I don't have to go anywhere. I could just lounge a little more. So I did not allow myself that because there are too many things dependent. So I fixed up a 10 o'clock team call with my team every morning, that they have to take turns to host the call at 10 so that all of us have a sense about a team early morning. And then I told the team also that, it's okay. You can, take it easy. You don't have to pull yourself and, get overwhelmed that it's office. You can be flexible about it, but we have to get into a mindset in the morning. So, and I made sure that all the house activities were over by 9 so that I'm in a mental space to give them work by 10. So, yeah, the
Well,
routine thing is good.
yeah, that's probably really good for your team as well as for you.
Yeah.
And that actually leads to another question, which is how you've operated during your business during this crisis. We've talked about what you're doing for other people, but you know, how have you operated your business? Has it changed things like, what office you have, or where people work? Just things like that.
So yeah, the good thing is before the lockdown happened, we did this as an exercise. So my team was not ready to work from home, and they were like, it's okay, we can work, and nobody believed that they will be ever locked down. So I told them I think we should exercise this before it's imposed on us, so that we do it out of choice, not out of compulsion. And I think that's one of the best decisions I took for my team.
Mm.
And I let them take. So we don't work with laptops. We work with iMacs because we work on big screens.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
so I let them take the IMAX home. I told them you can take the IMAX home, and anyway our work is on the cloud. So we're not supposed to get constrained by the workflow is anyway on the cloud. So that's I think the main thing that helped us during the lockdown, that we were prepared for it, and we'd already set up the Zoom call routine before all this had started. So I think that is what, I told them that, this is the time we're taking to be with our families and also work. So we
Hmm.
should stay relevant to work. I wasn't expecting a lot of work, at that point. So I thought maybe it's time to take it easy. So I told them to enroll on courses that can help them and train them in their skills and spend time with family and, rejuvenate themselves. So I told the team that, we all should we share which exercises we are doing to stay active, and what other things we're doing to fulfill ourselves. So I was really looking forward to this time as the nourishment and building time. But surprisingly, as work happened, we haven't had a weekend off in 4 weeks, and we've been working day and night. So all the holistic facade I built for them was really a farce, just like most leaders do.
Yeah.
Not
so so
invested in,
Yeah,
not
so it's
invested.
interesting. I think what you're speaking of is a split that is occurred with a lot of businesses. Like you'll have buckets of business that are forcibly idled, restaurants, cruise ships, whatever. You'll have businesses that are, continuing but down. And then you'll have businesses like yours that are really more important during a crisis like this, and so they're busier than ever, to the point where everybody else is saying, God, I wish I had work, and you're saying, your people are probably saying, God, I wish I had a break.
Yeah, so I mean, we actually had a disagreement with the customer that we didn't want to work on a weekend because I told them we've been working for 3 weekends.
Yeah.
They're like, how can you be, saying this at this time? Like, people are desperate for work. I said, we are desperate for sanity as well, and we want to give you good work. But anyway, after that debate, we still ended up working, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah, so, I mean, one's got to be, realize how the gratefulness of the whole situation. So yeah, we
Yeah.
went on.
Yeah. If you're busier than ever, you might want a break, but you also got to appreciate being one of the businesses that's doing really well, versus struggling
Yeah, and
most.
also like, the pressure has increased on us because the businesses who are working with us are people who are actually desperately trying to keep their businesses.
Yeah.
So, the dependence on us is, exposing their vulnerability. So I can understand the stress they come from and the pressures they are driven by.
Yeah.
Because, that's what I realized, that, we cannot be thinking of our weekends because this is about businesses that are dealing with the fragility.
Yeah, that's interesting, because when I think about helping is the new selling, I mostly think about it as businesses helping now in the hopes of having, sales and customer loyalty and brand equity later. But it's true even for the businesses that are thriving right now, because they're, they're increasing their output to try to help their customers survive.
Yes. And at that point, at one point, it became really, really stressful for me because there were 4 parallel projects going on, 4 different customers, and each one of them required the same sensitivity and handling that they needed. So yeah. So, but yeah, it's still a good problem to have, I guess. For us, staying centered is really important right now, and we're doing all the holistic things that need to be done as a team. So I make sure that the team gets the downtime they need and they do things that really rejuvenate them. So I tell them, don't go back watching Netflix and, just binging into content that's not going to serve you. So, take a walk in the morning, or, just, do some yoga or do some centering exercises that can power you within 20 minutes. So I myself do a lot of breathing pranayama, which will, power me more to go through this. So I guess that's how it is.
Yeah, and I know you have a dog who needs to be walked now and then, so that's another thing.
That's another thing. The dog is tired because I think he's lost weight. Everybody in the house takes him for a walk.
Right. I think there are some dogs that are like, no, not again. My
And I
dog is not
feel like,
one of those.
we are split across from the basement to the first floor, and the dog is taking more steps than ever before. So if
Yeah.
I was to put a Fitbit, I don't know what he'd be doing.
Yeah, here I'll show you Grady on the floor right now. He had a big morning. There he is.
Okay, his head is up. Look at mine.
Oh yeah, shadows just plop down.
Yeah. So he won't even raise his head at this point.
Yeah, yeah. But if I got up and jingled the leash right now, he would be right there. He would be right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else like if I don't think I asked you this, but maybe I did. If you had like one sort of message to put out to businesses right now, and it can be business, personal, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, what would you, if you had one piece of advice for businesses trying to navigate this landscape, what would it be?
I guess it's what I would say to personal as well as business. Stay calm and change the vibe. The vibe of the world right now is panic or uncertainty. So, by staying calm, by staying centered, you can change the vibe. So if you can't sell, you can market. If you can't create, you can innovate. And if you can't do anything, you can stay calm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Meenu, and stay well and safe through all of this.
And to you too, wish you well in New York, and I hope things get better. And I know New York is resilient and creative, so I see the Instagram streak with people in their Halloween masks. So I guess the humor keeps you alive, and I hope it keeps you going.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a good night.
Okay, good night. Thank you, Jeffrey.